Hey everyone, I'm here with Stephen Spalisi of VMware. Stephen, how are you?
I'm great, Evan. It's good to be back. How are you doing?
It's been a minute. I'm doing well, and I'm really excited to chat about what is the Super Bowl of our industry in telecom next week, Mobile World Congress. You've been doing this for a few years,
Yes.
or decades, years. Okay.
Okay.
Um, are you excited for the big week next week?
I am. I mean, we have so much jammed into next week from announcements to activations in our booth, some great features to literally like 300 plus customer meetings already booked in calendar.
Wow. Wow. So I'm guessing that you're going to have 3 or 4 dinners each
Yeah.
night. Is that sort of the par for the course?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I think if it's all tapas, it's fine because you have a little here, have a little there. But
but
yeah,
but 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 talking business, I mean, you have a lot to talk about. We do here. Telco efficiency is the new name of the game. RAN transformation continues at an amazing pace. Smarter networking, of course, and it's all about edge. Is this the most exciting time in telecom, or is that just my imagination? I think it's one of the more exciting MWCs in terms of the industry and the agenda of the carriers.
Yeah, I think it is actually. I think what's really exciting about it is operators are really getting into the groove of deploying their networks. So you have 5G now out in many markets, and you have activity, great activity in the market with, markets are going live, and you see consumers and enterprises using 5G. It's really the crunch time now to start really deploying that at scale, meeting the demands of the market, and driving new services and capabilities. Like you asked about RAN transformation, and I see this year being a really important year for decisions where operators are already engaged in, large scale POCs and pilots, and they're considering options for modernizing their RAN. And I think that is just very exciting because they're building the RAN of the future, not only to accommodate the 5G workload, but also looking forward to 6G. And I think with the emergence of more activity around Open RAN and more gravity in that area, you're going to see a lot more operators this year making decisions and moving closer to that posture of Open RAN. And I think we're excited about it because we're enabling that journey. But we're working with a huge ecosystem of network function partners who play in the RAN space and some in the core space who are moving fast to really satisfy the needs of those customers. So it is indeed an exciting time.
Well, tell us about that ecosystem because it's not just about VMware. It's about your partners, your customers, developers. It's sort of
True.
a brave new world. It's really fascinating to watch.
We have, the traditional network function vendor and ecosystem. These could be traditional network equipment providers and those software ISVs that are developing network functions for both the core and the RAN. We have a very broad program. We call it Ready for Telco. Today we have over 300 plus certified network functions from a variety of
Wow.
vendors. It's a huge landscape. It's like 50 different partners. We've actually made, and we've announced this in recent blog. It's available. We can send a link as a follow up. But on our Ready for Telco program, we announced on our VMware telco.vmware.com site that we are exceeding now 300 plus certifications. But in addition to that, we announced a new program for those ISVs and NEPs who want to self-certify their cloud native functions. They can do that in a very simple and easy way. We call it continuous onboarding and verification, or COV, and it's completely demystified the process. Typically would have been done in a lab with equipment and all sorts of people and steps and such, 1 through 100. Now has been fully automated, and it's very straightforward. And that's an important element for operators because they want to be able to know that their workloads work with confidence in the core and the RAN and at the edge. Making that sort of hassle go away is a really big improvement. But we're working with a host of great partners. We have Ericsson, we have Nokia, we have Samsung, just to name a few, Mavenir, Altiostar, and others. I mean, there's just a variety of great partners in that space. And then there are many more that are emerging on the sidelines and coming into this market, which I think is really exciting. Just today we announced some PR we supported PR for Arcus around 5G services focused around things like MEC and hyperscaler on-ramp and off-ramp capabilities, working with VMware in a solution to be able to help operators who want to make more efficient use of their networks and to be able to program their networks. You asked about programmability. The RAPathon at MWC next week is going to be a showcase for our RAN intelligent controller. This is going to be a bunch of partners who are going to be located in our booth, and our customers can interact with them and talk to them and learn more about how they can actually use this technology to transform how their RAN operates, be able to unlock value from it, and to be able to program the network in order to achieve new and better things. It's
so cool.
Exciting.
Yeah, I always wondered why Telecom, we didn't really have hackathons and, developer meetups and things. And finally, it's coming to the forefront with help from VMware. I noticed you talk a lot about telco efficiency. Is this about NetX, CapEx, OpEx, automation? Or like what's the message there? Because it's a bit, we're in this, efficient world now. We have to do more with less. What does it mean, really?
I don't think we're quite chat GPT for.
We had to get the buzzword in. We did it.
I'm sure we'll get there. What's interesting is when we talk about efficiency, we don't only talk about technology, which drives a kind of efficiency through optimization, which, by the way, is deep in the DNA of VMware. I don't know if you heard or saw, VMware has been around for 25 years. We just had our anniversary last week.
I saw that. 25 years young.
But think of where that company came from, right? We were born out of, disruption, virtualizing the processor, virtualizing workloads, many to one. So, think about the historical value prop of what VMware provides. It's consolidation. It's about hyper consolidation of infrastructure. And so on the technological layer, efficiency is there. It's sort of native to VMware. And then the intelligence, the ability to move workloads based on the dynamic conditions that may emerge, contention, resource contention, things like that, dynamics of the workload itself, and then driving those decisions as to where to put the workloads, where they can be best served. Now apply that in the context of energy efficiency and reducing carbon emissions, using policy inside of our frameworks to be able to drive better use of resource, being able to power down virtualized radios, being able to power down parts of the network function ecosystem that aren't necessarily in use, or moving those all together to another regional data center where perhaps the pricing of that energy is lower or available in some cases. So I think it's exciting what we have at the technological layer. And you asked about the OpEx side. We actually do not only make the system more efficient, but we also make the people who use the system more efficient. So we have enabling tools through our automation, our assurance technologies, our telco cloud automation, or telco cloud service assurance, enable the operators to be able to utilize these tools to save time, and then in return save money, and make themselves more useful with the technology, so they can avoid reacting in many cases and being able to proactively address concerns that may in the future turn into an issue on the assurance side. And on the automation side, it's about driving a massive amounts of efficiency and scale in how you deploy, maintain, and continue to operate day 2 and beyond. If you're talking about virtualizing a network and really renovating the traditional network and then putting that in a modern telco cloud, you need the enabling tool set to be able to drive that sort of hands-free kind of automation to be able to deploy network functions across a variety of locations, or different types of network functions, to be able to chain those together to be able to create services. And then in addition, we're talking about the RAN. The RAN is a totally different game, right? That's a volume play. So we're looking at thousands of sites and the physical complexity of deploying infrastructure into thousands of sites. If you can virtualize that, containerize that, and then drive that through software, it's amazing what you can get in returns. So those are some of the examples of the efficiency that we're talking about, and we're showing this efficiency on the floor. We actually have a booth feature that talks specifically about all this efficiency and where customers can gain it immediately with VMware technology. We're also partnering with Intel on that, so they can come and learn the combined story as we work together. It's 2 features in our booth which have Intel participation and sponsorship, it's very exciting to work with them. And they're, again, trying to drive major change in the data center, but also major change at the edge. And it's exciting to see that collaboration come to life in the VMware booth.
That's fantastic. So that's on Tuesday. You
That's
have a reception. So everyone pencil that in, Tuesday local time in Barcelona. And then you have another session the prior day, Monday, on the OpenRAN. The debate. What's the debate? Because I thought it was pretty clear the direction of the necessity to move to open standards.
Yeah, I don't know how much the debate is on the details of the standards, but our group CTO for our service provider and edge business unit, Miriam Sarand, will be on the great, I think it's called it's not the telco debate though, it's called the OpenRAN Debate, and it's going to be on Tuesday the 27th at 16:15 p.m. It's on stage A in Hall 6. You can't miss it. Miriam's got a pedigree in very large scale network architecture design. She's former CTO at Dish, also former head of Cable Labs. So she's got a pedigree and a great perspective as it relates to modernization of the RAN infrastructure. When we talked just a moment ago about the technologies we have, but we're working with an ecosystem that's really trying to disrupt the RAN space. It's some younger companies, whether we're talking about the RIC, who have very disruptive technologies. We mentioned there's an R-Appathon, right? The R-Appathon's a showcase for the 7 different partners that we've been listed who are part of our ecosystem. We have more than 7 partners. We have well over, I think 15 partners to date, which we've announced in previous quarters. But these 7 are really focused in and around efficiency of operations as well as optimization. I'll highlight one that's really interesting to me. We did some PR with a company called IRA Technologies. And IRA is actually doing optimization of the channel itself, the RF channels themselves. And they're actually doing very intelligent prediction to be able to improve the performance of channels and communications. And that's a great example of thinking differently about how you design the RAN. You're effectively externalizing the intelligence, pulling that data out of that very closed, almost siloed bit of infrastructure. That only happens, by the way, if you start to break it open and disaggregate it. Miriam's going to be talking much about these kinds of things, about the power of disaggregation, the ability to segment that part of the network, be able to expose through APIs and interfaces, to be able to tap into that infrastructure securely, to be able to extract value, as well as to orchestrate, automate, and trigger close actions to improve availability, service performance. That you can't do that in a closed box because those interfaces are closed, access in and out are closed. It's literally a black box to the network. If you start to open that up, you get a lot more freedom of choice as to which vendors you choose to use, new technology, disruptive innovation, and ultimately new opportunity for the telco to be able to glean more insights into how their subscribers use the network.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love how you guys not only work with the big tier 1, tier 2 vendors and providers, but all of these upstarts, new entrants into the space, early stage tech companies. 50 demonstrations is a lot to coordinate. So give us a snapshot of who's there, and also if companies are interested in partnering with VMware, what does that look like? How do you engage with new, partners, vendor partners, developers, et cetera?
Well, I'll answer that question first. We have something called the Technology Alliance Program at VMware, which enables partners who are interested in signing up to be a part of the ecosystem to actually be advertised in a marketplace. On the telco side, we have a more intimate process related to selecting the vendors. We want to make sure we're picking the right vendors that align with our telco customers' workloads and their architectures. We have our own partner organization, which drives that interaction with prospective partners and existing partners. Inside that, I mentioned Ready for Telco, which is the certification program and really the parent program for all of the different vendors that are a part of the telco cloud ecosystem. We also have inside of that, inside of the telco cloud ecosystem, we have the RIC partner program. The RIC partner program, or once again, RAN Intelligent Controller Partner Program, is giving access to ISVs who are writing XApps and R apps. X apps being near real-time applications versus non-real-time applications that be used in the RAN, in the context of the RAN. Some of those partners that we're going to be seeing on the floor are folks like AirHop, and we're going to be seeing IRA that I mentioned earlier, HCL, just to name a few, Remedio. There's a number of them. And what's exciting about these is these younger sort of agile startups who are building this kind of tech to be able to cater to and address issues in the RAN. It's the point of access in which our devices terminate and effectively gain access to a network, a cellular network. It's a great intersection point, like I said before, that's been traditionally blocked off based on previous historical and traditional architectures. As we move forward and start to tap into those interfaces, and those interfaces emerge as available interfaces, then these startups are coming in and saying, look, we can transform how this part of the network works. The other, we have great partner solutions that we're showing across the ecosystem. It's not just the RIC. We have a number of core vendors that we partner with. We've made some recent announcements on certifications with and updating our support matrix for our current versions of our telco cloud products. And we'll be showing those in the booth as well. In the booth, it's very interesting. Not just the partners are featured, which we have this little corner for the RIC folks, and then we have all of our demos are available throughout the entire booth and stand. But we have a set of activations which are quite cool. We have a private 5G enabled barista, which is dialing up and delivering hot coffee and macchiatos and cappuccinos right there in the booth. And what's interesting about that is it's a mechanical device, it's a robot, and we're using data, and we're actually extracting data and then showing the details of all of the operations that are going on. The sensor network essentially inside that machine is all being driven over a private 5G network.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which by the way is it's what it is showcasing is how our solution for private 5G can be enabled and used in the context of a manufacturing oriented use case. We also have a mobile edge police car, which is a Tesla that'll be right in the center of the booth. It's lit up, it's activated and online. And what it's doing is real-time inferencing of data that it is scanning from its various cameras. The use case is born out of a customer based in the UK, one of the police organizations that's actually using the technology in real time to be able to scan potential perpetrators' license plates and be able to identify whether or not they're on the wanted list, for instance, being able to get information without having to have a physical interaction. That's all very, very important in the sort of next generation of police services. But doing that at a mobile edge, it's connected, it's online, it's got low latency communications to be able to do the processing that's required in order to be able to deliver the kind of results in real time for the police. And then we have the sustainability feature that I mentioned before, which talks about the workload placement, energy efficiency, et cetera, telco efficiency, as I mentioned. And then we have some hands-on, actually, devices with some very large screen where you can see some of the demos right on the floor, literally tool through and navigate through our demo catalog. And our experts are there kind of in a Genius Bar style concept to be able to support discussions in the booth.
Amazing. Wow, this is mind-blowing. Actually, yesterday I had a call with Vodafone who managed to put an entire 5G core network onto a Raspberry Pi device.
Yeah, I saw that. Very cool.
This is amazing for private 5G. You also have a lot of workshops, and obviously you have tons of labs all over the world. Labs are where the rubber hits the road in terms of interop and scaling and testing and interworking and all that stuff. What are the workshops that you're facilitating?
The one that's of particular interest, I think, is our telco labs. Mm-hmm. We have our telco labs team there, and we're running actual labs on site. So if customers want to take advantage of learning about our products, we have some focused training that can be done right within the booth area. We've got a specific area of our booth fixture, which is using access to remote technology, a huge, large-scale server farm that's been set up specifically for for the event to be able to support our trainers who are there, our technologists and trainers who will be walking customers through configuration. And this is sort of a stalwart thing that we do at VMware. We bring hands-on lab infrastructure. We expose the technology to our customers and our partners. We give them access to new technology and to be able to see new features and capabilities. And this team has been able to put together this infrastructure, host it remotely and securely, and be able to make that accessible right from within the booth, so that our customers and partners who want to experiment can go through a series of labs and setups, and able to experiment with our latest and greatest versions of our telco cloud products.
Holy cow. Do you guys sleep at all at VMware, or do you just sort of work
24/7? I haven't in a couple of weeks, but yeah. It's funny because you do all this work on the from the marketing front to, there's a bunch of people behind the scenes. Obviously, we're working on everything from press releases to blogs to we're working on social media activity to really promote the event. Then there's the event planning. This is a huge undertaking, content, everything you can imagine that's being readied, all the meetings that are being planned, all the coordination of calendars across all the executives. We have over 20 executives who are going to be there. We have our top executives in the company, our CEO, we have our CTO, we have our CMO, we have our CRO, our president, Sumit Dewan. We have everybody coming to this event. It's going to be an absolute must-see. I encourage folks to come to the VMware stand. We're in Hall 3. We're in stand 3M11. It is going to be an absolutely great show. It builds on our success from last year. We had a packed house, packed week. We expect MWC this year to be probably 25,000 more people than last year. So it's going to be tight. There's going to be a lot of activity on the floor, a lot of great things to see. But I really encourage the audience to come over and see us in the booth and spend some time to learn more about what we have.
Oh, well, so wonderful, so exciting. I can't wait to see it all unfurl next week. Good luck with the rollout. Good luck with next week. And everyone will see you in Barcelona.
Thanks, Evan. And I look forward to seeing updates from the rest of the industry on what's happening next week. It's going to be a great one.
All right. It's going to be a big week. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Cheers.